The UN and also many of your allies have been asking for an independent commission to investigate the killing of Palestinian journalists in Gaza, who reached now at 247, including 5 of our colleagues who were killed the day before. So why not supporting an independent commission, considering that Israel has failed every time to investigate the killing of journalists or doctors or teachers in Gaza?
Well, I would take issue with your premise here. To say that Israel every time has failed to do that is not true.
I mean, this is one of the worst, if not the worst, single attack on journalists in modern history, this particular incident on Sunday. As of all the journalists being killed, probably many of them by American weapons that are supplied by the US.
Well, let's not, I'm sorry. I respect you enough to know, to not project something that serious and saying probably. Let's leave that out.
The majority of weapons that are used have been supplied by the United States, courtesy of the US taxpayers. So there is a very strong accountability issue for the American government.
So I have 2 questions. First, there is 26 foreign ministers who signed a joint statement calling on Israel to allow unrestricted access to Gaza. The GHF work is not enough by the standard of every organization that works there, and there is no evidence that Hamas actually stealing the food. So considering that, like international figures, whether it's McDonald's calling on the Pope to visit Gaza before it's too late, why not allowing other ways, including the UN, to help people who are on the precipice of dying, basically, of starvation?
Well, I will remind you, and I know you know because of your work, everyone here knows, that situation is rapidly evolving. We've been working from the beginning for a ceasefire, specifically for the reasons you've noted and that we all care about, which is the aid for the people of Gaza. Hamas has been at war with the people of Gaza. We've seen that through their refusal to stop this war. We know that they are the first victims, and our intention is, of course, is to stop that carnage. That's the bottom line. I can tell you that the aid dynamic, there has been more aid that has flowed in. We know that there is an understanding that this dynamic is changing, but even within the midst of this war zone, more food has arrived. I believe the GHF numbers at this point, I was briefed on this morning, is close to 120 million meals. And of course, also, as we've discussed, nothing will ever be enough in a war zone. The war zone has to stop. It has to end. So that is our recognition here. Our posture has not changed. Our actions have not changed. And yet the situation is fluid, more so than in recent days. And so I would ask you to recognize that, and we're working within that framework.
And the UN and also many of your allies have been asking for an independent commission to investigate the killing of Palestinian journalists in Gaza, who reached now at 247, including 5 of our colleagues who were killed the day before. So why not supporting an independent commission, considering that Israel has failed every time to investigate the killing of journalists or doctors or teachers in Gaza?
Well, I would take issue with your premise here. To say that Israel every time has failed to do that is not true. We know that, again, this is a nation fighting a war with a terrorist group that have always used human shields, have used hospitals, have used schools. It's been just the worst example of the barbarity of human beings, if you can call them that. It's been shocking. For Donald Trump to make the commitment to end this would be a tremendous gift to the entire world, as you know, and that is our commitment. We also we call on our ally and partner Israel to investigate these situations. I do it from this podium, and the United States does it. We expect investigations, and for a sovereign nation to engage in that, and then we'll follow up on. We see what those results are, but they do investigate. That is one of the things that, unlike other dynamics in war, Israel has done that, and they're transparent about it. So I would say that as we are working on all of this to stop, we encourage Israel always, and they do so as one of our, again, stalwart allies. And I think that their background proves that, in fact, look, they are minding their own business on October 7th. They are constantly dealing with those kinds of attacks. This is a chance for everyone to be able to have a future that is different. That's what we're looking for.
Investigation with us?
Yeah. Well, clearly, yeah. and I can't say for each situation because each one is different, but I know the goal here at the State Department and why I felt very comfortable working with the people in this building is that information is key, right? Is that knowing what's happening matters. That is your job as journalists. I respect that immensely. It keeps me centered. Knowing that we have to explain things or talk about them makes us view the news as it's coming up in a slightly different way, makes us ask questions. That will never end. And so I trust that, well, I will be in some fashion asking the same questions. I know you will be as too.
I just want to follow up on Nadia's question. You said that you urge Israel always to investigate, and they do investigate in some incidents. But I want to go back to Sunday's incidents when an airstrike struck a tent of journalists. 4 of them are my colleagues, killing them. And there is no need for investigation here because the IDF statement was clear that they targeted Anas al-Sharif, my colleague, claiming that he's a leader of a Hamas cell that fires rockets into Israel without providing any proof. And this will add to 238 journalists who died in Gaza in 2 years. 11 of them are my colleagues, 11 of them. And my question is, are you comfortable with all the claims and excuses that Israel made to target those journalists, whether they are my colleagues or the other 200?
Well, what I can tell you, and I think what's been apparent from this podium, is our concern about the loss of any innocent life. We've made that clear. The work of the people in this building is committed to that. And it's every day, every briefing certainly, we have examples of that. It is difficult for you. Some of you are war reporters, and you go into those zones, and I respect that immensely. So I'm not in a position, nor will I discuss my feelings. That's not what I'm here for, whether I'm comfortable or uncomfortable. What I will tell you is that we refer you to Israel for information regarding al-Sharif. Israel has released evidence that Sharif was part of Hamas and was supportive of the Hamas attack on October 7th. They're the ones who have the evidence. They're the ones who can be reached and will hopefully talk with you and certainly talk with others who reach out to them. I will remind you, and this is, again, as we're dealing with a complicated, horrible situation, is that Hamas historically has had members who are embedded in society, including posing as journalists. It is a horrible thing to do for those of you who are committed to finding information for people, to be in that situation. It's horrible in any war. I think some of us, if not most of us, have met someone who's been injured or know of someone who's been killed, who we've worked with because of a war situation. They are a terrorist organization. They launch rockets from near hospitals. They have bases under hospitals and schools. We've seen this happen over and over again. We've become in some ways inured to the inhumanity of that. And what I can tell you is what this administration is trying to do, is trying to stop it, finally, once and for all. That's what I can speak to, is Secretary Rubio's focused passion on getting things done in what is a short period of time. And my goodness, it's been 7 months, and they're doing it. And that's what, again, regarding the specific instance, very big news, but that's my request and my comments on that exclusively. Yes, sir. We're moving on. Go ahead, Tom.
I mean, you've said on the killing of these journalists that you refer us to the government of Israel.
Yes.
I mean, this is one of the worst, if not the worst, single attack on journalists in modern history, this particular incident on Sunday. As of all the journalists being killed, probably many of them by American weapons that are supplied by the US.
Well, let's not. I'm sorry. I respect you enough to know to not project something that serious and saying probably. Let's leave that out.
The majority of weapons that are used have been supplied by the United States, courtesy of the US taxpayers. So there is a very strong accountability issue for the American government. So on this instance, has there been any internal process to look at what happened and to see whether it was within the laws of war?
Well, obviously, there's many internal processes. I'm discussing with you a suggestion about who to reach out to, who has the answers for you. And that is due to the fact that, more than aware, of course there's internal processes, which I will not be discussing with you because of the nature of them and the importance of the diplomatic work that is continuing to this day to stop that carnage.
Is there an internal process on this particular incident?
I'm not going to discuss the details for you. I'm not going to do that, and I think you know, and I appreciate you need to ask the question, but we're in the midst of not just any conflict, but one that we have stood by and worked on and spoken and dealt with everyone from the beginning of this administration to stop. Special envoys, the president, the secretary, food aid, the coverage, my comments here from the podium. Yes, I mean, it's clearly something that the Trump administration has spoken with about directly. It is clearly a major consideration for this administration. That has not stopped. And it is not something any of us asked for, let alone the Gazan people. But yes, we're working on and dealing with, well, many things that might not be.
Just on the human rights report, just a quick question. You talked about new issues, new areas of concern for the administration, one of which is censorship. On the UK and on countries in Europe, this has been a big theme in the report. You talk about censorship of ordinary Britons becoming increasingly routine in the last year. And one of the cases relates to the killing of 3 young girls when there was an online speculation, which was false, that it was carried out by an asylum seeker. There was then very serious incitement to violence against asylum seekers in the UK, leading to very, very violent incidents, and people were prosecuted for that. It's a criminal offence to incite violence and racial hatred in the UK. Your report seems to be suggesting that it's a human right for people to have the freedom to carry out this incitement on American social media platforms. Is that what is a new principle in this report?
I would ask everyone to go and read the reports for themselves and come to their own conclusion about the nature of where we stand. We've been very vocal about the issue of censorship, people being able to speak their mind, but it also can't be distilled into a couple of sentences that project a particular political point of view. I say, for context, read the reports yourself.
Can I actually continue with what Tom was asking?
Sure.
You mentioned the human rights report. In the human rights report, the GC is politically biased in the past, and censorship is something that you're taking up. Why is this a human rights abuse in your view? I mean, Secretary Rubio has himself said that the United States is going to monitor social media of people coming to the United States, that they should keep it open. He's revoked visas on account of statements that people have made. Why in this case, in the case of the UK, in the case of Germany, in the case of France, why is this a human rights violation?
Well, I can tell you that we consider freedom of expression to be a foundational component of a functioning democracy. Societies are strengthened by free expression of opinion, and government censorship is intolerable in a free society. Freedom of expression does remain under threat in many parts of the world. As outlined in the 2024 Human Rights Report, governments continue to use censorship, arbitrary or unlawful surveillance, and restrictive laws against disfavored voices, often on political or religious grounds. And no matter really how disagreeable someone's speech may be, criminalizing it or silencing it by force only serves as a catalyst for further hatred, suppression, and polarization. That's why.
Thanks for your response. Can I just pursue that, though? In the case of the UK in particular, and in the case of Germany, because of its history, incitement is considered something that's could be criminally liable. Does the United States see that as absolutely wrong? That for example, for the UK to say that this is a public safety issue, people might attack migrants because they falsely think.
Well, again, as I've said at the start, I'm not going to go into the details of what is found or discussed in each of the country reports, and I'm going to leave it at that. All right. Yes, ma'am, there in the green. Thank you.
So Israel was recently accused of killing Saifullah Masaleh just over a month ago, one of the dozens of Palestinian-American Israel has illegally detained or killed. Mohammed Ibrahim is the most recent case, a Palestinian-American teenager from Florida who now has scabies while in Israeli detention. Mohammed's family is in Palestine right now attempting to free him. What is the Trump administration doing to release him and other U.S. citizens from Israel's illegal detention?
Oh, thank you for that. I'm not, as we've had to say before, going into the details of actions we're taking diplomatically, what negotiations might exist. We certainly are aware of those reports, and there's really no higher concern for the State Department than the safety and well-being of American citizens.